If someone asked you what you're afraid of, would you be able to answer? Can you discern worry from fear? How about anxiety from insecurity? No matter how it manifests for me, it's the result of the same underlying fears bubbling to the surface. And when met with compounding thoughts of comparison, perfectionism, or regret, the view beyond my here and now is limited, and the darkness distorts my vision with old lies. But I wonder, what if I found relief in only getting to see what's just before me? What if I had permission to take small steps rather than conquer the entire darkness all at once? And what if I turned my attention to sources of light before being tempted to fight the darkness? October is my favorite month of the year, hands down. I love the colors, I love the smells. I love that, despite how self-centered society has become, people still spend their time and money to share Halloween candy with perfect strangers, just to provide a little magic for them. This time of year is filled with spookiness, often on purpose for the thrill of it. But I do not like to be scared. I don't enjoy watching scary movies or visiting haunted houses. Give me cute, vintage Halloween decorations and a Munsters marathon. That's my kind of Halloween. But I find that, despite my best efforts, fear often grips me, especially at night or when I'm wrestling with big feelings surrounding my work. It goes by many names, such as the Sunday Scaries or Nighttime Blues. And if we're honest with ourselves, I think many of us have normalized some sort of baseline of fear that we've taken on into adulthood. And when things are going well in work and in life, it seems manageable. So we leave it under the bed, only for it to rear its monstrous face at another time. There's a tradition practiced in Mayan communities that before going to sleep at night, a person tells their concerns, fears, and anxieties to small handcrafted dolls, one by one. This is some heavy work. Not only has that individual identified their definition of fear itself, they've made a list. These worry dolls, as they are known, are then placed underneath the pillow of the confessor, leaving their mind free to rest and recharge to tackle those same problems the next day. And while this ritual may look differently for each of us, there's a grounding connection in this practice that is shared. Whether we disclose our fears to a therapist, with a best friend over coffee, in quiet recitations of scripture, or through tear-stained journal entries, there is power in naming our fears. I think sometimes we feel like the action of naming our fears gives power to the fear itself. Like if somehow our saying it out loud transfers power from us to it, depleting us in the process. But after experiencing burnout firsthand, I've learned the exact opposite to be true. I think naming provides shape to what we're facing and therefore allows us to better size up our opponent. Identifying our fears brings clarity to what is real and what is make-believe, like adding light to a dark room. When I think about fear of the dark during childhood, I find it interesting that we approach this stage as a challenge to overcome, rather than an opportunity to learn a lifelong lesson. Because saying there's nothing to be afraid of is both true and untrue. Darkness is nothingness. There's no shape or form, no definites. When we think about it, the dark isn't the threat in and of itself. The dark has no power to hurt us. It's what we imagine to be lurking within it that might cause us harm. That is what we fear. It's the imagined unknown that provides us no way for us to know what we're up against if we're called to fight it. The dark is a curation of everything that has ever been left unvanquished, and it haunts our vulnerabilities. When I feel stuck in my work or life, my number one fear is that things will never change. And my second is that I'm here by my own doing. As Scott Erickson writes in his book, Say Yes, the death of a dream is the consequence of my past choices, and now I'm left with the regret, the ghost of what should have been. I should have walked down another path. I should have made different choices. I should have ended up somewhere different. And maybe some of these ghosts of regret may have a nugget of truth for you today. Maybe you willingly took a different path out of fear or obligation. Maybe you didn't have the privilege of choice at all. Maybe, like me, you've reached a milestone birthday and just now looking up to analyze how you want to use the time that you have left. And then there's those of us for whom the path felt so right. The road seemed prepared, the green light was flashing, we had a calling. It's funny how my fears that nothing will ever change and I'm here by my own doing seem to contradict themselves. Like somehow I don't hold the power to change things, yet it was my fault I am where I am. Can both of these be true at the same time? The should-have ghosts, as Scott calls them, are no respecters of persons. They haunt us with anxiety-inducing thoughts like, was I just too scared to try something else? Did I misread the signs? Is it too late to change my mind? Who will I be if not this? As I journal these words just days from my 40th birthday, I can attest that these ghostly questions haunt me most when I'm lost in the darkness of things will never change. I lack the vision to see past the ghosts because they appear to be the brightest thing in the room. They not only have my full attention, but are blocking my path to the light source I want to reach because I know it will make them disappear. In the light, I can distinguish fact from fantasy and truth from lies. So it begs to reason. I need to fix my eyes on the light. Fixing my eyes on the light means focusing on joy rather than happiness. Asking myself what is sustainable in my daily practices and what or who is my source of light. As the old Sunday school song goes, not letting it be extinguished, but letting it shine. This means finding joy in the everyday, not because I'm romanticizing it, but because I'm truly grateful to have the opportunity to experience it, no matter how small. It means not allowing feelings to dictate my truth and being brave enough to confront old lies, deciding that they no longer have claim over me. This means my question no longer remains as, will things never change, or is it my fault? Instead, I rewrite my questions, and today, maybe you do too. My new questions are, what are some things I'm glad will never change? What's in my control to change? What's not? And how does this affect my feelings of responsibility? What are decisions of bravery I can celebrate instead of regrets I can rehash? What is my light source? So what are your biggest fears? And what about those ghosts, those lies that haunt in the darkness? Have you stopped to ask yourself, what's your truth? Where did these ghosts come from? And what's your source of light? I identified my biggest fears through much reflection. This reflection was on smaller, seemingly unrelated anxieties. If you aren't at that stage yet, I invite you to try the following exercise that helped me. First, list. List all your worries and anxieties, big and small. Write them down. Think brain dump. Then, group them. Through color coding or cutting apart into strips, start grouping them together. Then ask yourself, what themes do I see? Lastly, and this is important that you do this last, is label those groups. If each group or category had a theme, what would it be? This is a step in clarity. For example, maybe you find that the anxiety you feel when sending your child to school and the stress you have eating lunch in the break room are rooted in a fear of feeling left out. Maybe you are dreading your high school reunion because you have a greater fear of feeling behind in life. As always, I've included journaling resources in the description box for you and would love to hear from you as we walk this journey together. Now, let's breathe out a sigh of relief as we all reassure ourselves that it's okay, that I'm still learning.